Hi there, I'm Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, August 8th, 2021. Welcome to the Lionsgate portal and the new moon in Leo. It's been a powerful day. New moons are always about like new beginnings, but they can also be about endings and closures. And you can have lots of extra energy on new moons, or you can be exhausted. Like today, I have been flattened. All day long, I've just been dragging. So I'm recording this kind of later than I like to, but I'm getting it done for you guys. So I'm going to talk about the transits for this week and channel. Be showing you the United States of America's chart while I do that. And I'm going to do a little bit different today when it comes to the channeled psychic readings with tarot. I'm going to do one larger general reading for everyone. So just one big general reading with the intention that whatever questions you might be having in your life or insights that you need to receive are going to come through either in the discussion of the transits or in this large general reading. And it'll give you more of a sense of when I'm doing private readings, I do a larger spread. So I'm going to do a larger spread that hopefully will have something for everybody who's watching. So thank you very much for your kind attention. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this new baby channel of mine. Hit like, share it with your friends, make comments. So my guides I have a committee that I work with that have leaned on me to do these videos way before I started them. So I'm feeling it out as I go along, but I've been doing professional psychic readings for 33 years. This video stuff is new. I did have my own radio show in the late 90s here in Austin, Texas. But these are trying times. They just really are. And so we all need to be plugging into our highest guidance possible, which I believe comes through spiritual practices, meditation, chanting, connecting with the divine in nature or within your own self. So that's kind of what I feel like we all need to be doing. If we're putting the oxygen mask on and tapping into our own higher self, higher direction, we will be getting the insights that we need for our lives. And we'll be listening to inner voice every day, hopefully, and one day at a time work our way through this intensive time period that we're in. And it's not shifting. When I look at the planets, we are under intensive times for at least another 2 years solid. Like it's like the things that we've been going through, very similar, more surprise things are going to be hitting health wise as I see it in the chart. So we just need to love each other, love ourselves, breathe deeply, plug into spirit, and just get the guidance for this one day. That's all we need, right? What do I need to do today? What am I guided to do today? I really recommend that everybody do that. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. And like I said, I've got the United States astrology chart pulled up here. So I have that the United States of America was born on Thursday, the 4th of July in 1776 at 5:10 p.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Right now, I've got current transits pulled up, but it is a Swiss ephemeris that I plug into. So they're already on August 9th over there, which is why there's a time difference here. I'm recording this on the 8th. It says 9th here, but that's why, because over there in Europe, where they generate these things, they're ahead of us. They're a day ahead of us. They're in the future already over there. Okay, so right now today we had the sun and the moon together. Of course, now it's been a little while, so now the moon's at 22 degrees. But earlier this morning, when they were both aligned in the sky, they were at 16 degrees. The sun's at 16 degrees. So 16 is a 1, I feel, and 6 is what you open up to. And together they make a 7, which is plugging into psychic and spiritual connection. So the Lionsgate portal on every August 8th is a powerful lineup astrologically as well as numerologically. Numerologists, astrologers, psychics, all point to this day as one of the most powerful days of the year every year, because it's an alignment to divinity. Basically, you can just get direct downloads from spirit. So, and also, since it's combined with the new moon today, it's extra potent and powerful. So this is the time, and if you're watching this after the fact, that we still feel the effects of the new moon for a couple days afterwards. So you can still get your new desires going. You can still start pursuing new things, even in the wake of the new moon. Ideally, you listened to me last week and you carried a beautiful new intention for yourself in your life into this morning's powerful lineup with the moon and the sun together. We also have Mercury there in the skies in Leo. It's at 24 degrees right now. So it's conjunct the moon at the moment and the sun. Anything within a 10-degree orb is conjunct. The closer it is, the more powerful we feel it. So when the sun is moving through Leo, Leo represents our heart, what we love. In astrology, it's the fifth house, which represents romance, creativity, children, sexuality. And so Leo can bring our attention to these things. What does my inner child really desire to do? What brings me joy at a deep fundamental level? Like, we all can feel guided to start chewing on these themes as the sun moves into Leo. The first decan is we're really doing a lot of inner self-reflection about what brings us joy. As we move into the second decan from 10 to 19, that's which is where the sun is now, it's really about, what do I connect with out in the world that brings me joy? Who brings me joy? What brings me joy in the outer world, right? And then as it moves into the third decan from 20 to 29, it's about, what do I want for my future, right? And that's kind of the breakdown, no matter what sign it is. The first 10 degrees of a sign are about how it relates to your inner world. The second decan is how you relate to your outer world. And the last one's really about how you relate to your future. And so right now we've got the Mars here at 6 degrees of Virgo. So it's really dealing with, in Virgo, is a lot about, how do I take action towards my health? Virgo really highlights health. Anytime planets are going through Virgo, there's a huge emphasis on health. What do I need to do to make myself feel better? What kind of food do I need to be eating? Drinks, rest, diet, exercise, all that impacts your health comes under the microscope when we have planets going through Virgo. So we have Venus there at 21 degrees, and we have Mars currently at 6 degrees. And Venus are both going to be clipping on down the road this week. Venus actually moves into, no, Mercury moves into Virgo on Wednesday. So Mercury will be joining this party. It'll be leaving the party in Leo and joining the party in Virgo. The moon, of course, will get there first. The moon moves more quickly. So this week we'll have the moon finishing up its transit in Leo and then going into Virgo, where it will also emphasize the focus on health. Also in Virgo, Virgo's ruled by Mercury, so we can also get up in our heads a lot when anything's in Virgo. We can really start critical thinking. On a positive end, it helps us be able to get organized and see things clearly and objectively. On a downside, it can be perfectionistic thinking, like trying to be too perfect with anything. So Mercury's going to really be activated this week. The moon is activating it right now as it's conjunct it, and we'll be crossing it over this evening. So moon and Mercury together, your intuition going over what you think, where's your mind at? So you could have some great insights into communication and thinking and how you look at your own life. Across the skies here, we've got Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius. Right now it's at 28 degrees. So there'll be an exact opposition here between Mercury and Jupiter on Tuesday. That's when it gets exact. We're already feeling this. So anytime there's an opposition, it's like a tug of war across the skies. So we've got Jupiter on one hand, expanding everything. It's going retrograde. So it's going back over what have we learned so far? What have we learned? It's an Aquarius. Aquarius teaches us the lessons of humanity and working with others, vibing together. Um, Also, Jupiter is about belief systems and knowledge. And so, what have you learned about humanity and the world around you as Jupiter has moved through Aquarius? Remember, it and Saturn were together in the skies at 1 degree in December. So Jupiter went all the way through Aquarius since December, bopped up into Pisces for a little bit, and now it's retrograde going back. So it will be exactly opposite Mercury on Tuesday. So there's a tug of war between this huge expansion planet emphasizing holding the light on our communication, our thinking, how we think about ourselves, how we talk to others. And so it can highlight. Jupiter makes things bigger. So if you're having some frustrating conversations or stuck in negative critical thinking, it's going to be expanding that aspect, making it even more intensive this week. If you're in a good space with yourself and you're already tapping into your higher self and you're worrying and you're being vigilant over the negative mind, and so Jupiter could expand that this week, and you can have some huge downloads from higher mind coming in. More likely it's going to show up as some conflicts. That's just kind of natural. Now, here in the United States chart, we've got our moon at 27 degrees. So Jupiter is conjunct the United States moon right now, emphasizing what in the United States? The moon represents the people. In a personal chart, the moon is your intuition. And so the United States is full of a lot of people that are very highly intuitive. I mean, we probably have the most evolved people on the planet based on some of this stuff right here, right? And so Jupiter is expanding everyone's intuition right now, too. So intuition's heightened. It's also heightened because Neptune, the psychic radar planet, is in a very psychic sign of Pisces, very psychic spiritual. So here's a couple different places where we could be having downloads. We've got the whole vortex portal thing going on today. Jupiter conjunct the moon for a while here. It'll be going backwards. It'll be going back to 27 degrees in the next week or so. So it'll be exactly conjunct. Neptune staying here in Pisces for a while longer. It's at 22 degrees, exactly opposite the United States Neptune. I talked about this last week. This is an ongoing opposition that will come into exact, and then within a degree or two, all the way through till 2023. Like, this is a long-term opposition. So every planet has, the positives and the negatives. So the positives of Neptune are it helps us be in touch with our intuition. It's a psychic radar. It helps us tap into higher frequencies, spiritual, psychic, listening to our intuition, right? On a downside, Neptune is illusion, delusion. It's fuzzy thinking. It's not being able to see clearly. It's like, not being able to get the energy up. It's mucus. It's health stuff, right? So an opposition here between the transiting Neptune and the United States Neptune, locked in an opposition. This is where I see the health stuff just reaching, just like no matter what we do, we can't seem to be pulled away from this conflict, right? That's making us delusional on a lower end. On a higher end, people are having to rely on spirit, on higher things, because they're not able to control the things in their world the way we usually do, right? So it can bring out the best in psychic spiritual things with this opposition, can force you to go searching spiritually, to go waking up intuitively. On a downside, it can keep us into like illusion, delusion, addictive things can just be running rampant right now. And that's one of the things I see. I mean, in addition to a health crisis, I see addictions really also just being on a lockdown. We're just feeling stuck and can't move beyond it is another thing in ways that could be showing up. We've got Venus here at 21 degrees. So it's conjunct, it's joining this party of opposition here with the United States Neptune game here. So Venus is highlighting what we love, who we love, how we receive energies. So it's highlighting, again, this could really help us pick up some psychic downloads. Like, again, there's all these indications for spiritual and psychic downloads coming this week. This should be a great week for reveals. It could also be a week to have past life loves come in. The north node, the north and the south nodes are at 8 degrees. They actually go to 7 degrees by Wednesday, but right now they're at 8. So the north node is conjunct the United States Uranus, sudden unexpected things, knocking left and right when it comes to the people, seventh house, our relationships within the country and with others, right? So this has been super. North node is really where we're all being taught, where lessons are being learned. So in Gemini, for all of us, we are being taught how to look at things differently, change our thinking. Excuse me. And that's because Mercury rules Gemini, which rules the head. So all of us right now on the planet, not just in America, but with the Uranus factor here, Uranus brings in sudden unexpected curveballs, spiritual things that are disconcerting initially, but always bring about a spiritual reveal. Always, if something's taken away, it's replaced with something better. So we're having some like come to Jesus, like I could have had a V8 slap upside the head moments here in our country. And another like, wow, really, like changing of thinking in radical ways can be happening right now. And Juno is the good wife. It can represent your partner in astrology, exactly conjunct the south node, which represents past lives, belief systems that we're letting go of, things that are releasing in our lives. You could be releasing a significant relationship right now. It could just be like, okay, I'm having my I cannot do this anymore. Particularly because Mars this week on Tuesday is going to be exactly squaring the nodes. So the square can be a conflicting element. And so Mars, the planet of taking action, is going to be coming to a head to head with what am I supposed to be learning? How am I supposed to be rethinking this? What am I supposed to be letting go of in terms of a belief? Like this may be the day when something just comes out and you're like, oh, geez, and just really shift something in a major way. Let's see. Mercury will be opposite Jupiter on Tuesday. Mars squares the nodes on Tuesday. So this could definitely be a day of conflict. Watch your communications. It can not be a day just to stay inside and not really get on the phone or the internet, just to keep it safe. I don't want to scare anybody, but like the potential for having some head-to-head conflict could really come out on Tuesday, Wednesday. Mercury goes into Virgo on Wednesday. So on Tuesday, Mercury is going to be at that last degree here of, 29, 28. And so anytime a planet gets to the last degrees of a sign, it's a wrap-up lesson. And so Mercury is going to be saying, okay, what did you learn as I moved through Leo? Did you learn how to love yourself more? Did you follow what you're passionate about? Did you reach out and try something new that you love? Are you rethinking how you love yourself? That's mainly kind of what I get with the Mercury and the moon and the sun party here in Leo, is like rethinking, tuning into intuition, and opening up to love, self-love and love from the universe. Let's see, what else am I feeling of this week? Okay, so Pluto is at 20 5 degrees right now. It's 2 degrees off the United States, Pluto. So we're having a Pluto return, which becomes exact in February of next year. So that's when we're going to have Pluto is power and control. It's like a wrecking ball. It's power and control issues in your life. Who has power and control over you? Where are you giving your power away? All these kind of issues were all coming up to be like, in a big way. And it'll be reaching ahead in February of next year. Right now, Pluto's retrograde, so it's going to go from 25 degrees this week back to 24 on Wednesday. So there's a lot of shifting on Wednesday. Also, the moon crosses Venus on Wednesday and trines Pluto. So really, Tuesday, Wednesday seems to be like super intensive. So really tune into intuition, really like breathe deeply, make sure you're in a rhythm with yourself, because things could, there can be things coming left and right Also, what could cause sudden unexpected things coming from anywhere is this Uranus here in Taurus, which has been squaring Saturn all year long. Um, Sudden unexpected things squaring off with how we structure things, how we form things, the boundaries, and the like. So we've got to square off. So in ways that we didn't expect, we're having to be shut down, reform our lives, restructure things. So this, we've already had an exact square of it in February. We had another this summer. We'll have the last third and final exact square right before Christmas in December. So we're staying with this out of nowhere, something can come that really changes up our live energy as a backdrop of this whole year. Uranus here it's at 14 degrees of Taurus right now. So in Taurus, it is changing up Taurus, what we value, how we value our lives, how we value ourselves, what we play, where we place our value, our money, our financial stuff. So financial crises can be happening. I mean, really feel like we're just since your Uranus is just in the middle of this transit. I really believe once Uranus also in Taurus is Earth changes, sudden unexpected things that are changing up the Earth, because Taurus is the Earth. As Uranus moves over the next few years and gets to these later degrees of Taurus, that's when I feel like banking institutions could just completely go belly up. We could have literally plate shifting on the planet, that kind of major. We've already been seeing an amazing amount of increase in national disasters ever since Uranus went into Taurus, which kicked off several years ago with I remember at the time it was volcanoes in Hawaii going off as soon as Uranus went into Taurus. So that was one of the first things that kicked off. Of course, fires, floods, it's been crazy, right? It will just keep getting more intensive. So unfortunately, that's one of the backdrops that's going on for everyone in the skies right now. Chiron is at 12 degrees Aries. So Chiron in the chart is the wounded healer. It's where in our personal chart is where we've experienced wounding throughout our childhood and early life. It's a place where we usually repeat the karmic pattern, and we do the same thing over and over and over again in a way that's putting us in situations that are wounding until we heal that woundedness. And then that area, instead of a place of being triggered and sensitive and overly weak, it becomes a place of great strength when we do our work. So the United States has Chiron in the 5th house. I find this super interesting because of all the wounded children, 5th house children, sexually abused children, women that are sexually assaulted. Like, this is a lot of the United States wounding is with these two things, right? Children and women, and sexuality. Not just women, men get abused and are wounded sexually as well. So this is what I see here. So we're starting to enter into a Chiron return. Chiron at 12, Uranus Chiron is at 20. So some of these issues of the child pornography and womanizing and sex trafficking and all that, I just really see that stuff coming to a head. So to be healed as Chiron moves closer and closer to the United States Chiron. Like right now it's 12, it's going to be a while before it gets there. So we're going to be seeing these issues increase, and hopefully with the Chiron return, we'll be able to heal some deep level stuff. If not collectively as a country, individuals in our country hopefully can really heal wounded, especially if it came from childhood wounds and specifically sexual wounding. So we've got Chiron at 12 degrees. So that's in the 2nd decan. So for everybody, last year it was moving through the early degrees of Aries. So we were all working on how we look at ourselves. Now we're really healing our relationships with others with Chiron here, right? And then starting at 20 degrees, it's the future, how we're healing the future. And children are the future too. So to connect those dots. So we're all being asked to heal, make changes around the woundedness when it comes to others. That's how I interpret that, right? We have Black Moon Lilith here at 2 going up to 3 degrees of Gemini, which is really amplifying fears of how we think about ourselves. Gemini, Black fears, thinking mind. So there's a lot of things that cause us just to go kind of flip off mentally this week. North Node conjunct Uranus of the United States chart in Gemini, that can activate it. Mercury here conjunct the moon tonight. Mercury ending the last degrees of Leo, stirring up stuff about love. And then with the opposition to Jupiter expanding what's over, doing even stronger emphasis, it can bring in positive things across the chart. You can have like the most powerful conversation you've ever had with someone that's life-changing. That it could be really, it could show up like that this week. Mars, and then like I said, Mercury will be joining the Virgo party. So and Mercury in particular, when it goes into Virgo, it can really be an attention to be really harsh and self-critical. So really watch that. So you can really, we could be really trying to Jones out here on self-love and then go into Virgo and just get super overly critical. I need to fix that and I need to change that. And okay, it's great, wonderful to do an overall assessment, which is easy to do when planets are in Virgo. Oh, I need to change this, I need to do that. With Mars there, we have the energy to make changes. Venus here helps us follow our passions, follow our heart towards those changes in health, service to others, our work. Virgo's also work. So, and then we will be having, let's see, what else is going on this week? Mercury goes into Virgo Wednesday, North Node's moved to 7, Pluto to 24. Yeah, there's a lot of shifting on Wednesday. That's where I feel like you're going to really feel something shift. When you have that many planetary changes going on in the same day, Mercury going into Virgo, North and South nodes going to 7, Pluto going to 24, the moon crossing Venus and Venus turning Pluto all on the same day really points to Wednesday being woohoo. And then Mars squaring the nodes and Mercury opposite Jupiter on Tuesday. Those 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, if you make it through, the moon moves into Libra on Thursday. And so then it'll be crossing the United States midheaven. So this is where, what is the, Libra is about justice and fairness for all. We've got the United States midheaven there. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to be having our mission, justice and fairness for all. When the moon goes into Libra, it really puts us in the moon to want to be in relationships too. We can be kind of inner focused again, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which rules the head. So we can kind of be up in our head a lot as the moon goes through Virgo. So watch that. Make sure you're purposely dropping into your body, dropping into spirit. And then when it goes into Libra, it can be easy, more easygoing. Oh, it feels like everybody wants to be social and hang out with other people and do relationship stuff. So there can be this, I think Thursday can be a welcome sort of relief and kiss. A breather is what I'm hearing. It is a breather after, if you make it through Tuesday and Wednesday, yay. I mean, everybody will most likely make it through these days. It just could be, you could be saying things that you regret. You could be just having some great, powerful insights as well. So, it'll be really interesting to see how that shows up for you personally. On Friday, Mercury will be squaring Black Moon Lilith here. It'll be in early Virgo. And so that also can be highlighting our fears and bringing, we could really, if you are someone who has a predisposition to worry or fear, things that like this week could really get your goat. So knowing that ahead of time, plug up the feeling of I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm always protected, call in your guides, do what you need to do to feel secure and safe in your world, in your head, in your mind in particular. The moon goes into Scorpio on Saturday, make everybody also super psychic, come on to dive deep. Secrets can be revealed when the moon goes into Scorpio. It's also on Saturday at 22, which is a breakthrough day. The sun will be at 22 degrees. So that's a super powerful energy going on. Heading through the week. Is there anything else that I feel like I need to talk about that's jumping out to me? No, I feel like I've hit most of the major transits this week. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to go to doing a general reading for everybody. So I use the Osho Zen Tarot deck, if those of you that are interested, and I channel. So a lot of the information comes just through me. It's not even in the cards. I tell people I use the cards like trampolines. I kind of like jump up, and I definitely see and read what's going on in the cards. But my readings are always a combo deal. I'm empathic, so I can feel what's going on for people in my physical body. I'm a medium, so I can often hear loved ones that will come and want to say something. I'm a channel, so psychic vibrations, my higher guides, higher realms come through me. Information just pours through me. I get past life flashbacks for people. I'll get future prophecy, kind of like projections into the future. Those are really rare. Like in every reading, I always do sort of, this is what it looks like right now. This is what's going on. This is where it looks like you're headed. And the future is always a trajectory based on the causes you're setting today. There's no predestined, this is going to happen in the future. Like possibilities are great. Like astrology doesn't predict when things are will happen. It'll just say, hey, conditions are right. Like, for example, if it's an 80% chance of thunderstorms today, it's not a good day to plan a picnic. Does it mean it's going to rain on your head? No. Is lightning going to strike you? Probably not. But you want to be aware that conditions are right for that, right? That kind of thing. So when you know you're headed into positive astrological transits and you're like, well, I can really take a ride on this. This could really be helpful. If we're heading into negative ones, it's like, heads up, watch out, tread carefully, that kind of thing. So that's how I use astrology. And it just fascinates me to look at the transits and see how they're very, they are predictive. They really can show you what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to just ask my guides to come in. I'm going to ask that this reading be for your highest good, if you're watching this, and that there be something valuable for you to get from this, no matter who it is. And I'm going to do this like I would do a larger general reading for a client, and I will be explaining each position I put the cards in and what each card means. All right, so this will be interesting. I got this guidance a few days ago to do this, to do it this way, this week anyway. Right. I should cut them. All right. I don't usually cut, so that's interesting. All righty. So this will be things that the majority of people here that are watching are going to be moving through, having come up in your life, questions that you might have going on. We'll just see what's a go here. Oh, some interesting cards. It does look like it's going to be an intensive week. Sorry. You heard it here first. Okay. So the card that represents the overall situation, which is like sort of a general picture card for everyone, is the Miser card. The Miser represents fear, particularly fear around money and financial things. It's when you just feel, oh, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in this relationship. I don't feel safe in this job. I don't feel safe in this economy, this country, this planet. It's highlighting fears. Fears will be activated and highlighted this week. Fears to me is one of the things we're always having to be vigilant over. If you're on a spiritual path in any way, you are working with overcoming fears. And so, and that's the positive sign when fear comes up. If you can recognize, oh, there's fear. Oh, that's right. I need to really drop into like feeling safe. When I have fear come up, that's when I go and I meditate or I chant or I go soak in the tub or I go take a walk or I call someone, hey, I'm struggling, to shift it. Because if you don't, you start generating the worry, it just gets louder, louder, louder. And then that fear, you're putting so much energy and attention into that that what you're actually afraid of, you are actually contributing to manifesting, because what we hold in our attention, what we hold in our mind, our thoughts, what we say, what we do, all creates our reality. So if you're generating a lot of thinking and feeling in fear, then you are putting your creative energies into manifesting the very thing you're afraid of. So fear is false evidence appearing real too. Just because we have a fear doesn't mean that actually, whatever it is that we're afraid of, is going to come to pass. I mean, sometimes it's exactly that. Sometimes I'll get a psychic kind of thing and I'll know something is about to come, that like, you know, it's always about turning over things that we can't control, right? So this is about letting go of fear this week, breathing deeply, figuring out, how can I let go of these fears? What do I need to do to feel more safe and secure on a daily basis? Okay, so this card represents you. This would be the person getting a reading. So this is the awareness card. This is insights, ahas. It's all of a sudden where you couldn't see, now you can see. It's having an insight, a download, oh, wow. I'm like, it's an awareness. This is a higher level of consciousness. Awareness is coming out of the fog, coming out of the sleep, and seeing what you seeing clearly in your life, seeing what you need to see, getting the information you need to receive. All of that is included in this awareness. Like, you have an insight into what you're doing to create to the problem. You're like, oh, I'm holding this fear. No wonder, so you're having a connect the dots moment this week, or the opportunity to like really see the why of something. All right, so the exhaustion card is the bridge that's crossing. That's like right now. That is exactly how I've been feeling all day. Today is exhausted. So, if you're feeling exhausted, it may very well be this new moon, Lionsgate portal, just all this intensive astrological energies is just like, think about, the moon is the tiniest right next to the sun, which is like frying. The sun can fry us out, especially here in the summertime in Texas. So, some of this could just be like, oh, so tired of this. You may be tired of something in your life too. So some of this, you may not be physically tired. You may be tired of this person or of this job. Like, I'm done with this. There's this level of fatigue going on right now today. And it's not just me, is what I see in these cards. Okay. So the next cards represent the conscious focus, what you're thinking about. This is something you're aware of because you see it, you're thinking about it, you're putting your thoughts to it. So these positions should reflect back to you what's going on in your mind. Okay. We've got the participation card, which is working with others. This is maybe joining a new group where you're going to get support from other people. It may be connecting with family or friends, or you're going to be doing an event where you're working with other people, or you're doing, collaborating at work, or, there's something where you're thinking about bringing the parts together, joining a group, working with others. And the ripeness card is coming. This is about timing. So something is ripe on the vine. It's about time for something to come to fruition. This is what you're thinking. It's time, man. How much longer? Or that you actually know something is the time, because this could be you're hoping that it's the time and it's almost right. But this also can be you're clear. It's time, right? So whichever it is that fits with you, time to come together, maybe even putting those two things together. Okay, underneath the scene. So these positions, and this layout that I do, by the way, is my own. It's a modification of a Celtic cross. I put extra cards in the position because it gives me more information about each position. So this is a layout I developed a couple decades ago, and I have been using ever since. So underneath the scene, to me, this is the foundation that's going on underneath our lives. And this position I see usually is like lava in the volcano. It comes up and out at some point. So whatever's down here will be coming up in the future. All right. So underneath the scene is the We Are the World card. This is the card that represents the ultimate in potentiality. It's working together around the globe, global citizenship. It's anything is possible. There are no limits. This card says we're all together on this planet. There's nothing that can stop you. Um, just figure out how to bring all the pieces together here. So there's this also card can represent global travel. Like if you're thinking about taking a trip to another country, this card could come up in a reading that representing that. It's a positive sign indicating anything is possible and things will be opening up around the world eventually, not right now. So in the interim, then the silence card is coming with this. This is the call to meditation, to spiritual practices, to quiet the mind and your focus on the world and what's going on around you, and changing that focus to the divine inside of you where you can have peace and quiet and stillness. So this is saying too that this is the way out of all this crazy is that if you go within, there's an unlimited amount of possibilities of how you can feel positive no matter what's going on externally, right? So this is, and I just feel more and more people are going to be called to spiritual practices. I'm also seeing that since there's a general reading for many people, that there's more and more of you that are just like, some of this right in this card, it's time for me to start meditating. I need to do that now. I'm gonna plug into, I have on my meditation app that I use, it'll tell me where people are meditating all over the planet. You know, it's kind of cool. You just meditated with 12,000 people, da da da. It's kind of cool when you're, especially when you're alone, that to get the image that you're actually plugging into a matrix where many are already present. So, okay, recent past. This is near future. I mean, this happened in the recent past. It could also be childhood or something more distant past. In general, it's the recent past position, but I see all kinds of things in the past. All right, we have two different energies, and this seems to be talking about relationships. The dream card here, this shows up very often in relationships where the person can tap into the potential of the relationship. Oh my goodness, it's just such an amazing, beautiful potential. The problem is that the person is sitting there by themselves, fantasizing about the potentiality and not actually experiencing it. All right. So this shows up consistently with clients who are in these kind of relationships, especially psychic healer people. We have a tendency to tap into the best. We can see the person's highest potential, right? It's part of our job as healers and light workers to help other people see the things in themselves that they can't see. That's our jobs. The problem is when you could see it in a partner and they cannot, there's going to be a dissonance, right? And if you're all the time trying to show them their best selves and that's not what they're getting, and you're locked into the potentiality but not paying attention to where they're at right now, it's doing you a great disservice in this situation to use your psychic abilities and go, oh, I can see the potential, I know it's there. Great. It's a wonderful quality to have as a psychic healer. When you're dealing with a one-on-one relationship, though, you really need to look objectively. Can you 100% unconditionally love and accept the person you're with right how they are now? If you keep coming up with less than, this is, I deserve better, okay, and you keep coming around that same thing, it's not gonna get better. Okay, I'm just telling you that. Of course, we all have the potential to improve, but this card says, come to Jesus. Look at it objectively, look at it clearly. So this message has come up in the recent past. So some of you have already had this. I see this. Some of you will be having it this week with this awareness. You'll be seeing that you're in that kind of relationship, that you're hooked into a potential that's not actually presenting itself at the moment. The other thing that's going on in the recent past is the inner voice card. These are psychic abilities growing stronger. It's clear signals from your intuition. It can also be psychically connected relationships where you feel this simpatico and psychic connection. The dolphins, they're all connected to each other psychically, right? So this card can indicate psychic abilities being heightened and developed in the recent past, like really working on developing that, it can indicate a relationship in which there is a tremendous amount of intuitive and psychic connection. These two are going together. So sometimes that also can make you like, oh, this must be my person. We have such a deep psychic connection. I know what they're thinking, even when I'm not with them. It's got to be. No. All that tells me is you're very psychic. It doesn't say anything about the relationship, right? Ideally, if you're psychic, intuitive, and I think everyone is, some of us to greater degrees, some of us to lesser degrees, and everyone can develop their abilities. If you're highly attuned and developed in your psychic abilities, you need a partner who is as well, because otherwise they're not going to even get you and you won't get them. So that also may have been going on in the past. Like you may have been developing yourself, like getting all kinds of new insights, and your partner is not traveling with you on the same path. The inner voice with this also tells me, you know, in your gut, if you're in a relationship that's not serving you or not. I know, it's not, but I'm enjoying it for the moment. It's okay, which is fine, right? We don't have to do it a happily ever after scene. Relationships are about growth and development. If you're learning something, even if in a negative relationship, it can be a good relationship, right? Okay. Near future is the new vision card. So this is a new sense of self, a new direction, new habits, starting a new venture, creating something new. Can literally mean a new home. See, there's a house here. It could be someone moving into a new home space. But this is definitely taking a ride on this new moon 8/8 portal and saying, yeah, I'm launching something new here in the near future. Also coming up with this is the guilt card. Now, this card can indicate guilt, where you're like, just cannot let go of something that you did wrong, or you can't change something. You can't go back over it. And you're just like replaying it over and over and over again. More often than not, it's not even about guilt. It's about that you crawl up in your head and can't get out of there. And you're like, making yourself crazy just by overthinking or replaying thoughts or trying to figure something out. So make sure when you find that stuff going on, that's the time you're like, oh, there I am. I'm in my head. And it's time to drop down and do your breath work, meditation, chanting to clear out of the head. So maybe some of this, a new beginning here in the near future, is that recognizing when your mind is tripping and going, whoa, no, come back, no. There's a phrase in Buddhism, become the master of your mind. Do not let your mind master you. Our minds are our computers. We can program them. We can change the channel on our thoughts. We don't have to get locked into a fear thought, a negative thought, or whatever, and then just keep, we can pick up the needle and put it down somewhere else. Okay. So it feels like there's a need for that. A need to be vigilant over where your head's at. The astrology said the same thing this week. And you may just need to like, oh, okay, do something different. Put your needle up. It could be just in your own thoughts. It could be literally pick yourself up and put yourself in another place. This is echoing that as well. These two cards represent you as well, like the awareness card did. This is the flowering card. This is things blooming and blossoming. It may literally be wanting to get out in the garden or doing, work with flowers, or buy someone flowers, or buy yourself some flowers. It's more symbolic in general of that life is blossoming. There's good things happening, good growth happening. You're feeling better about yourself. And then the schizophrenia card is also coming out. The schizophrenia card can mean you're cray-cray. It usually means you just feel torn down the middle. You've got a decision to make. You're torn between two different things. This card can also come up when there is a separation that's going to happen between two people, or when you're going to pick up and move, or you're going to leave the company, or there's going to be a division. You're either split within yourself, you need to split with someone, or something else. So in order to flower, you may very well have to leave a situation that you're in, is another way that these can translate together. So if you're questioning, should I stay, should I go? What is your gut telling you? What does it feel like now that you're staying? What does the idea of shifting feel like? Now, the idea of change can be totally scary and disconcerting, even if you're feeling guided to make changes. So this is where taking your head off and not trying to figure it out, but just letting something resonate with your intuition in terms of getting directions, right? And I always like to throw it out there in my meditation and prayer time. Guide me, make it very loud and clear, confirm it. Like if I'm feeling a guide, say I start feeling guided to make a trip to Colorado or whatever. And I keep thinking about, I really want to do it. I don't know. Is it time? Should I do it on COVID data? If I start getting some confirming signals, I pull behind a person with the Colorado license plate. I turn on the thing and there's someone from Colorado. If I start getting those kind of synchronous things start coming in, I'm going to say, okay, I guess I'm going to go ahead and go to Colorado, right? Conversely, you could get, all the bad news about COVID and don't go outside if you don't have to and and you're like, okay, I don't feel like it's time to do that right now. So whatever it is that you're wanting, advice, guidance from the universe around, ask clearly for it, ask to be shown clearly. And I like to ask to be shown 3 times. Show me 3 times. Don't just show me 1 time, 3 times. Bring it 3 times around. I want to know. So try that. Try asking the universe to show you. Of course, you can always get a reading with me to get specific, clear advice. We're just doing a general here. This is how I start with all my clients. I start with the birth chart, current transits, and then I go to a general reading. After I do a general, then we can move into specific questions. I won't do that today, but that's how I handle my private one-on-one readings, which I can do over Zoom these days. All right, environment. This is a love interest. These 2 cards together. This is the psychic. This is the lovers. This is showing up in the environment. So if I was doing a reading for you, this would not be you. It would be someone in your environment. This could be an intuitive person that really loves you. This could be psychically following your intuition into love. It can be that you already have a really great love that you're thrilled about. This could be new love coming in for some of you. This can be a sign to follow your intuition to what you love and who you love in your environment. Like pay attention. Does it resonate? Are you getting the intuitive confirmation as well as your heart being pulled to it? But this is kind of exciting. My sense, like if this showed up at a private reading with a private client, I'd say, it looks like you've got a lot of love in your life, at least this week. And people that this could also be seeking out someone you love for advice and counsel too. But I have the feeling that there's people getting out of relationships this week, and there's people that are going to have new relationships kind of showing up, or like, hey, flashing a light towards something new, someone new as well. Okay. The next position is hopes and fears. This is like pretty self-explanatory, like, right, what we hope for, what we're afraid of. We already had fear representing the overall situation. So we already know fears are up this week. So the Tower card, the Thunderbolt, which is also the Tower card in a regular tarot deck, and then the Projections card. Okay, the projection is when someone dumps onto you their own stuff. It's not, they're not seeing you clearly. They're saying you, da da da. Whatever comes after that is not what you are. They're calling themselves out generally, usually. So this could be, fear of that coming up in a relationship where you're not being seen clearly, the fear of not being seen clearly, or the fear of your own that you may not be seeing clearly, or that what's going on is going to lead to a total breakup and destruction of the relationship, which may actually be a good thing. A lot of times people are like, I don't want to leave the relationship. Really? But you're being abused verbally and like, why do you want to stay? Because I love him. Okay. Do you love yourself? Just wondering. So this is a fear around relationship breaking up, basically, or not being seen for who you are in a relationship. And that could be a business relationship or whatever, but it's like, and the hopes here is that you are going to be seen clearly, that you are going to, and change up your life in a big way. This Tower card in the hopes and fears can be, I want a big change up in my life. I desire a big change. Others are like, please, no changes. So, it's going to be different for everybody, but it's a powerful week. There's definitely some, I feel like undercurrents of old debris kind of getting dislodged this week. So you could have like old childhood stuff, old stuff just feels like it could just be bubbling up. Okay. So then I put a number of cards down for outcome, because we're never they were always on a continuing journey, right? And I'll put at least 4 and sometimes more, just seeing what the stories that the cards are telling me. And I put out extra here because there does seem to be an intensive story as we wrap up this week. Okay, the first card coming is the outsider card. So this card represents when we feel like we can't do something, right? The little kid is looking through the gate, I can't get through. Well, at first glance, the gate looks locked and chained. If you look a little bit closer, I don't know if I can hold this up where you can actually see this. The lock is not fastened. This is hanging there. So really what this card shows us is when we tell ourselves, I can't, we can't, we don't. So there's a place where you're telling yourself you can't. So pay attention to areas that may come up. This isn't, maybe towards the end of the week where you tell yourself, oh, I can't. Is that the truth? I mean, if you don't want to, it's one thing, but if you don't think you can, again, it may be thinking that's in your way. I mean, this really is a week of looking at your thinking. And are you thinking clearly? And are you supportive? And are you telling yourself positive things? Or are you saying, I can't do it? Well, don't want to, or you think you can't, cannot. This card is a card that says you really can. You just take the lock off, then you take the chain off, then you open the gate, and then you step through. Can't is a cop-out. I don't even have to try. So there could be someone who's afraid of trying something. Okay, the maturity card is coming next. Now, this card is the card that comes up representing self-care. Kind of, what do you need to do to care for yourself? Is that extra time for a nap? Is that extra meditation time? Is that extra time soaking in the tub, giving yourself a mani-pedi, facial, writing in your journal, nurturing? This is nurturing time to yourself. So there's a real need for self-care this week. Huge. The isolation card is coming up next. So this could be those of you who are literally alone. You can't be with other people. Maybe it's because of COVID and you're a single person and this has just been hell on you and you're just tired of it and you're crying. The isolation, excuse me, allergies have been something as usual. It is what it is here. That's the downside of living in Austin, Texas, just so you know. Traffic and the allergies. Okay. Isolation card. This can mean you're having emotions that are causing you to be like some of you need to cry. You're holding back tears and you would just be better off letting the tears come up and out. Some people are dealing with people who are freezing you out and you're being isolated from someone that you love. And that's hard to be dealing with. Whatever this is going on, it's a temporary situation. It won't be forever. So don't I'll always be alone. If you start doing things or nobody ever loves me, those long ass untruthful statements will be perpetuating karma into the future. So this feels like getting snagged on a karmic pattern and like feeling kind of sorry for yourself and pulling away. And so you don't have to do this, right? It's coming right next to the maturity card, which is about self-care. So nurture yourself, be gentle with yourself. This too shall pass. This won't be forever, kind of thing. All right. Some of you may be dealing with some of the sadness coming up because you've got some old trauma that's also on its way up, which is what I see in this card. The morality card, I've seen this card again and again show up where there's been sexual abuse, sexual assault, that kind of thing. People being put in jail, being confined, trafficked, just they're on lockdown in some way in their life. But it often has to do around sexuality. This will come up in a relationship where people aren't having sex, but they're married. Nope, everything's shut down, not happening. So there's something, because it's coming next to the isolation card. I'm feeling that some of you are having a lifetime of some of these issues that are stemming back to childhood or young adult events around being sexually abused, being confined, being abused in any way, and it's not been completely healed. So it's bubbling up to be released and healed. So again, this is another thing, like sit down and write as if you start getting flashbacks, or somebody's going to get a flash of something they've completely forgotten. It can be completely disconcerting if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s and all of a sudden you remember something that your entire life you shut out of your mind. It can be that kind of, that's what the psyche does to protect ourselves. But when you were healing, we need to see that stuff so it can be exposed and it can leave. So some of you are in some deep level healing process, and it's just not a pretty process. It's not a quick process. You just kind of have to be patient, try to be as gentle and loving to yourself as you're going through it as possible. The experiencing card is spending time alone, seeing the light within, seeing the good things, are feeling wonderful at just being calm and centered and quiet, and like being kind of a hermit and like solace. Again, there's a call to spending time alone. Some of you may not be having a choice, but to be, you don't, and with the way that our society is headed this week with lockdown, especially here in Austin, like I saw a news report, we have 6 beds left in ICU for a community of 2 point whatever billion people. I mean, like, this is not going to be good. So I feel like the lockdown, people, I really feel like it's coming. And whether or not the government locks us down or people are just locking themselves down because they don't want to get out and about, I'm not sure. But there's definitely more people spending time alone, and you can utilize that for spiritual growth. This could be like spiritual retreat time. If you're being held from going to do things out in the world that you would normally be doing, like vacationing or whatever, do an inner spiritual retreat time instead. The fighting card is coming up. For some of you, this is showing up in a relationship where like you're just having another round. For some of you, this is an inner struggle. You're fighting with something within yourself. You're still pissed. Some of you are still pissed and resentful about some of this old stuff that hadn't cleared. So you're making matters worse. Not only do you have the event that keeps replaying in some sort of traumatic replay, but you're holding on to anger and resentment, and underneath that really is hurt. But it's like drinking poison and wanting the other person to die. So there's definitely need to clear out some anger for whatever reason, whether it's connected to a past thing or it's in the current thing. But also, like, everybody going through such hard times, everybody's extra pissy. The roads are, I don't know if you noticed this. I mean, Austin, Texas has gotten horrible over the last decade with traffic, but recently it's been harrowing just to go. COVID has helped me just limit my getting out in the car to 1 or 2 days a week. I'm happy just to stay home and do all my work from home, over the internet and over the phone and stuff. But I find that when I do go out, like, it's harrowing out there. People are nuts driving vehicles. So watch it out there on the road, because, lots of people are struggling, and that's where people feel the safest of letting it out, screaming profanities at everybody else while they're driving. It's intensive. And there could be other kind of warring coming on with this fighting card. It just feels volatile. Could be more mass shootings, or, I don't know. It just feels like with conditions where everybody's irritable, the worst in people could come out this week. I mean, that's true every week, but for some reason this week feels super intensive. The control card is coming up. What can you control here, right? You can't control anything out here. So this is like turning over control. Some of you have control issues with like addictive things that you need to let go of, something that has control of your life. So this is coming up, and that may be something you're fighting with, is something that has control of your life, someone or something, an addictive substance that has control over you, and you're needing to like take your control back, because the burden card is like, oh my God, whatever this is, it's taking a toll emotionally, physically, spiritually. This is the card that's, this person's been carrying the weight of not only himself but someone else, and oh my God, I can hardly handle it. So this would also be then like, are you taking on too much? Are you saying yes when you should be saying no to other people? Don't take on any extra burdens right now. It's going to be enough to get through life dealing with your own stuff. Again, this feels like a week of stuff coming up, old stuff. Don't be like, just go with it. Go into the tub, go into the shower, go throw plates at a brick wall. I mean, whatever emotion comes up, let it come in. But now, I think you'll feel much better if you allow yourself to discharge some. These are the feelings that people don't feel like anger and sadness and grief. These are the feelings that people push away, stuff with food substances or whatever. This is the stuff that seems like it's coming up big time this week. So what can you do? This is the moment to moment card. This is the last card of this deck. This is like, what this moment do I feel guided to do? I always tell people, every morning carve out time to ask, what today do I feel guided to do? And endeavor to follow guidance. What would I love to do today? What would bring me joy if I did it today? Not what do I have to do? What do I need to do? What should I do? That's all coming from the head. So this is saying, get out of this crazy mire, all these mixed up feelings that feel toxic, situations that feel toxic. The answer is in what this moment do I feel guided to do? It may be to stop and breathe. It may be to go take your shoes off and wade in the water somewhere and go get in the pool. It may be coloring. It could be whatever you feel, martial arts. It can be movement. I mean, whatever you feel guided to do in this moment. This week reminds me of a woman in labor, right? She's much, much better. And I'm speaking from my own experience. If she doesn't start thinking, how much longer do I have to do this? How much longer are we going to be in this situation? When is a baby coming? That's some mind effing stuff to be doing that. Instead, if you trust the process that you're in of labor and know that between every contraction, you get a break. So you just stay in the moment, breathing through the intense times, just breathing deeply, turning it over, and then you get a rest and a break, and then intense time. So this very much, this time right now definitely feels like a labor pain or birthing something new, primarily within us that will get out pictured and mirrored back to us. But this is not a week where there's going to be a lot of changes that you can make in the world. I mean, there may be some new beginnings and stuff like that, but it feels like the kickback this week is intensive from the universe, like people irritable everywhere. So you get people that have already on this fatigue from how long have we been doing this COVID lockdown thing now, right? Over it, losing it, they're metal on metal. And so you may be metal on metal. So what to do? Plug in to the vastness of the divine, infinite universe and know that all will be well eventually. Yeah. Okay. That's what I have for you. Hopefully you got something out of that. Let me know if I can help you in private session. I'll put my link to my website, contact information below. Have a great week. Peace.